So I'm making a video for discussion 5 to show you a few features in Moodle and just to talk through these answers. Um, so to start with, the first part of this was asking us about the probability of picking a single student who took an online course. And we were told that 3/5 of students took at least one online course, and 3/5 is the same as 0.6 or 60%. So the probability of picking a single student who took an online course is 60%. And one of the things I wanted to show in this video is that we have a new feature in our Moodle discussion, and we can now use an equation editor. So if you're interested, this makes writing some of our mathematical equations a little bit easier. You can click here on the square root sign and a window will pop up. In this case, I'm interested in writing a fraction, so I click the fraction icon, and you can see that we can write in a mathematical equation. There's lots of options here for symbols that can make conveying what you're interested in conveying in Moodle a lot easier. You say OK, and it will show up in your window. So I just wanted to show everyone that we now have an equation editor, which is a nice feature. So the probability of picking a student who did not take an online course is the opposite, 2/5, which is 0.4 or 40%. The next questions asked us if we were choosing 4 students at random, what would be the probability that all 4 students took the online course? So this is kind of similar to thinking about flipping a coin that's weighted, where like getting a heads is 0.6. What's the probability of getting 4 heads? We would flip the coin 4 times, and we would use the multiplication rule to find the probability. So the probability that all 4 took an online course would be the probability that the first one took one online, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and together that comes out to be almost 13%. The next question says the probability of choosing 4 students where none of them took an online course. So that's the probability that the first student didn't take an online course, which was 0.4, that the second student didn't take an online course, 0.4, and so on. And again, this one comes out to be 2.5%. The third one is the most difficult. It's the probability that at least one of the 4 students took an online course. Now, to calculate that exactly would be difficult unless we realize that this is a complement of something we've already calculated. So at least one of these 4 is the opposite of none of the 4 took an online course. So knowing that this is the complement of what we just calculated, we can use that idea and do 1 minus the probability that nobody took an online course. So hopefully that's helpful. And then the second part, there were instructions to make this graph, and it's asking about association and independence. And so if 2 variables are independent, then we expect this graph to be at the same height for both of them. So in other words, this blue section would be, up here for the males. And therefore, like, knowing whether you're female, whether you're talking about a female or a male, you wouldn't have any difference in probability of survival. But the fact that our graphs are so different tells us that they're associated. In other words, there's a much greater chance of survival given that you're looking at a female than a male. If you ever want to post a graph in your response, the way to do that is to click this little icon. And before you even post it, you'll have had to have saved your graph somewhere. So you create it in StatCrunch, save it, and then you can upload it. And I have graphs that I like to upload, so you pick the one you want. This is my discussion 5 graph. and it's saying that I already did it. But if I hadn't already done that, you could just insert it. And again, this button here is how to insert a picture into your post. It's not required, but I thought some people were interested in finding out how to do that. So this feature here to use in an equation editor is a really nice new feature.